Hi everyone. Hi Wumi. So nice to see you.
Same
And
here.
yes, thank you for taking out the time to connect with us today, our audience. I believe a lot of people will find value in what you have to say today. One of the reasons why I brought you to come speak to me as well as others is I find that you have a very strong personal journey that is very relatable and filled with insights that other women can leverage to advance their careers. You started from the bottom, now you're advancing, and I know you're even going to go higher by God's grace. And so today, if you don't mind introducing yourself and telling our amazing audience about who you are.
Thank you, Solar, for inviting me, first of all, to this wonderful program. I'm always very excited to, provide insight about my journey and also help people improve in their career and grow as well, because I take my career growth seriously, and I always like to help other people around me grow, mentor people around me as well. My name is Wumi Olaseha, and I'm a director of international and subsidiary cyber governance with CIBC. I've been with them for 3 years and change now. And prior to that, I started as a senior information security risk advisor. Helping the different line of business to secure their applications, infrastructure, and things like that. But now I'm in the cyber governance space, now helping the different regions of CIBC and their subsidiary in terms of their cybersecurity practices. And I'm often known for my, ability to interpret and translate complex technical stuff into something simple and easy to understand by the executives. So this is something that actually makes me stand out among my peers. So and beyond professional space, I'm a mother of two boys. I'm very involved in their game and sports activities, their soccer, basketball. So I'm a very busy mom, 7 days a week. So really nice to be here, and looking forward to this chat.
Amazing, amazing, Mumi. I couldn't agree more with what you just said because I remember the way I met you. You organized tennis for some of us in Canada, and I used to really admire how you would show up with your kids. And for me, that was one of the examples that I saw as a mom being busy, but integrating her family such that she's kind of using like a stone to kill multiple birds, if that's what. So excellent. I love that. So, and I know you're very humble. You're being humble. You just talked about how, so I'm trying to going to uncover and unravel that such that you're not going to be, I'll force you not to be humble today.
Interesting.
Okay, let's delve into it. So this is the first time we're doing this. So apologies to our guests. We normally go on live, for Instagram gave us some limitations. That's why we had to pre-record this. So sorry about that. So the first question that I have for you, Wumi, like I said, I met you through networking where you organize tennis, but I want you to share practical strategies that you used to, I would say, transform or shift networking to building meaningful alliances. Because one thing I said is, yes, we used to play soccer together, but I saw you take that to the next level. You were genuinely interested in others, right? Asking me questions, getting to know me. Even at the point I came to your house at one point. So just share some tips with us today. How have you shifted or moved networking to building trust and strategic alliances? Yeah.
Yeah, Connie Sola, that's a really good question, and thank you for bringing back the memory, like how we met through the tennis. I love tennis so much. I do love tennis, and it was also beyond tennis. Is what it was more about building a community, networking, meeting more people, and expanding my horizon. So it's been a pleasure, knowing you and meeting you so far. And I know how you were also very, very involved with the planning and our weekly planning at that time. So thank you. But for me, networking is great, but I, focus on something more beyond just networking and getting people contact, right? It's not about just knowing people. It becomes more about how I show up, right? So early in my career, I realized that it's not just about collecting people's contact, meeting people, and getting their details. It's actually more about building that capability and credibility through consistency and authenticity. And as you would know, like, I'm a very authentic person.
Yes, very.
To the point, no dilly dally. Yeah. So my approach has always been to add value at first to people when I meet them, and for instance, so let's say from the workplace perspective, when I connect with senior leadership, for example. I quickly start thinking, how can I contribute? What value can I add to this relationship? Because it is what the value you add and how you show up, that is what helps them to remember who you are. Otherwise, they meet a lot of people every day, within the organization, outside the organization, but the only people that remains in their mind is people that really add value and show up. So how can you add value? So it may be by sharing a certain perspective about a topic that is, burning, or that is, ongoing within the organization, in the industry, or things like that. So you might want to share a perspective about that. I remember when I networked with the CEO of RBC, and in a very big town hall in Calgary at the point, the way I set myself out, from all of the people, was the perspective I shared about the, emerging country, banking space. Like, how can organization like RBC penetrate into emerging countries, like Nigeria, India, and things like that. So because of my experience from back home, so I was able to really bring that strategy to him, and you could see the way his eyes lit. And I'm sure by till today we'll still remember those kind of conversation we had, and the strategies companies like that can use to penetrate space, emerging countries like that. So it could be from that angle of sharing perspective. It could be like even volunteering for a project that a leader is taking up. It might not be the regular day to day. It might be, for instance, I can give an example of a senior leader within my current organization. He was looking to, he was coming up with a strategy, and he wanted to build a PowerPoint for the strategy to now present to the other senior leaders like
Mhm.
VPs and SVPs. And he put it in the group chat, and was asking if anyone could help. And quickly, I know I have like really good strength with PowerPoint presentation, and I'm like, why not let me do this for you? And quickly we had a meeting, like try to get his perspective, like what he's really looking at, and I build up something for him. And so you see like how you can now start building connection, building trust, adding value. It's not just, oh, I know Wumi. No, it's what has Wumi done for me? What information, or what idea, or what perspective has Wumi shared for me? And it could be as simple as just connecting two people that could help each other for that senior leader, or it could be for a contact. There's so many people, going back to that tennis group that I created. There are so many people that have also connected, maybe in terms of reference, or maybe in terms of just sharing information, sharing insight, and things like that. So this is how you build connection, and people get to know you, and you form that credibility. And just being that authentic self is very important. And over time, so that's genuine efforts that I put into help to build trust in all the relationship, or engagement I've had with people and networking with them. So one last thing I will say is, in terms of lesson learned when it comes to networking, do not make it transactional.
Hmm.
Make
Preach
it
it.
authentic. Yeah. It shouldn't be transactional, because once it's transactional, people sense it and they know it's not genuine. So it has to be genuine, and you have to be curious when you're having conversation with them. You have to listen, and not necessarily coming up with an agenda, because once you have that, then you might be shifting focus to the agenda, not being in the moment. So it has to be less transactional, with a lot of curiosity. And once people see that authenticity in you, then they open door naturally for you.
Wow, wow, what depth. Look at the depth of that conversation. I love what you talked about. I was taking some notes while you were speaking, so I don't miss out any powerful nugget. And I think four things I'm hearing from what you said. The first one is around value add. Executives, or not even anyone engaging authentically, or you want to really genuinely connect with people, people might not remember you, but for sure they will remember who added value to them, right? I love that part. And when you talked about that value add, one thing that stood out for me, I love how you talked about perspective. I loved how you talked about your background. Some of us as immigrants, we feel that that's a limitation, but you actually turned that to being like a power situation, right? Because he's never been to Africa. but you had that experience, that background, your origin is from Africa, and you use that to shape that value added connection. So I love that. I love your part on perspective as well. I feel that something that also shapes perspective is what you've also put into yourself. You cannot give off an empty cup. So for you to be able to give perspectives that are magnetic or perspectives that people will remember, it shows you also added a lot of value to yourself. I know you very well, so I'm speaking for you. I know you always keep on improving your competency levels and all of that. Another thing that you said that I really love is the transactional. And this is something I see a lot of immigrants do badly, right?
Mm.
You see a job in an organization, you message me. So, for example, I had somebody I've not spoken to in 5 years, I think. No, 20, no, like 7 years, right? And no hi, nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I just get a message from this person. I understood that this person had recently been laid off and that person needed an urgent referral. That's
Mm.
very transactional. No,
Absolutely.
7 years, no show, no see, no hi, no. I've posted stuff here and there, no like, no comment, no DM, no WhatsApp, nothing. Then you think I still went ahead to do it, but how many people would still do that, right? Not a lot of people. So that point on transactional, thank you for that. And the last one I want to touch on as well is listening. I think this is the simplest, most undervalued skill. Everyone can do. You don't have to go to school to learn it. Listening, right? I have people that would say that they want to have coffee chats with me, for example, and they just talk. The coffee chat is maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and they're talking about themselves. About themselves. Oh, this happened to me, whatever. And me, I'm also here to learn. I will learn from it, but you've not listened to my perspective, like you said, right? You've not. So that trust, it's difficult to form that trust with that because you're speaking. You don't know me. I don't know you. Just speaking. So I love what you said. So just to summarize what you said, I would say value added creation, being focused on adding value either through volunteering, perspective, your background, your expertise. The other one would be around trust, building a platform or a situation or a scenario where both of you engage. And the last one would be, I hope I'm listening and avoiding transactional relationship. I hope I summarized it well.
Very well done, Chloe. Very well done.
Perfect, perfect. My
Yeah.
next question to you, because I'm saying this because I've seen a lot of women struggle. So from networking, thanks for addressing that. The second one is sponsorship. A lot of people focus on, oh, I have a mentor, oh, I have a coach, which is good. Those are very good for also transforming whatever your situation is. But one thing that I've heard from you, not once, not twice, is the power of sponsorship. So, do you want to really throw some light into that? How has sponsorship helped you, very briefly? But most importantly, how can women on this call or women that will listen to this recording use sponsorship to also advance? We don't want, yes, we are managers, yes, we're specialists, but how do we advance with sponsorship? So over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Coin. I've seen a lot of people. They have mentors, and I've also seen people that don't even have mentors. So that's a different conversation. But for people that have mentors, and you're right, like you could have a lot of mentors and you still don't have sponsors.
Mm,
I've been a beneficiary of the sponsors, in several occasions. One in the previous organization I worked with at BDC. To get into that organization, it was through a sponsor, and they're currently in my organization. I have sponsors that I'm not even aware of those sponsors. Is that
wow. I love that.
it's interesting? Yeah, like I have sponsors. There are some that I know. There are some that I know that they are my sponsors, but they didn't come out to me that they are my sponsors. But I know that back end they are rooting for me, and I've heard from somewhere like very senior people in the organization. So but anyway, so mentors, they do advise you, right? And you could also have coach. They do coach you and things like that. But sponsors, they are different. They advocate for you. They are not there to teach you or to mentor you. It's beyond that. They advocate for you behind the door
Hmm,
when you're not there. So they pull down their credibility behind your potential. So that's what they do. Now, how would they know your potential when you've not really demonstrated it to them? So I didn't just go out like looking for sponsors saying, "Oh, I want you to be my sponsor." It doesn't work that way. I earn them by showing results. You have to show that capability. You have to show competence, and the attitude is also one thing too. Like you could be so good at the things you do, but if you don't have the right attitude, like people will not be able to put down their names, for you behind the doors. So as much as showing those good results is good, but it's also good to add attitude. That's one thing I wanted to mention before I proceed. But so in terms of that credibility, how I build it, every project, every opportunity that I get, it was always a chance for me to actually prove my reliability. Not so much of perfection, because for some of us that like to be perfectionists, and I have always been, I always like to be perfectionist, but I've improved over time. It's not so much about perfection; it's just showing that I'm proving that you can do this. You're reliable. Just putting in your best, right? So I focus on delivering, staying consistent, and also taking ownership.
Hmm.
This is a big word. A lot of people in the corporate space, like, they just do their work and that's it. They do not take ownership. They don't do over and beyond, right? This is how you set people, out, from other regular performers, right? Most people might be performers, but the high performers, the talent, they take ownership. They go over and beyond, right? So this is what I always try to do. I focus on that all the time. So when leaders, they see those kind of traits, that kind of track record, they start to trust you. You're beyond the regular, right? And so that's where the sponsorship journey begins.
Hmm.
And if you're consistent with those type of attitude, those type of engagement, so then they start building that trust, the sponsorship trust, and then that's how it begins. So that's one aspect, by showing credibility, your work, and going over and beyond, taking ownership, right, beyond the regular. The other piece is around visibility.
Hmm.
You can be doing so well, doing so good in your job, but you're not showcasing what you're doing. No one is seeing that
Hmm.
beyond your regular team. Then it's difficult um for you to get sponsorship, because you cannot say your leader will always be a sponsor. Like, it's really like, how many of people in his team or in a team is he gonna be sponsoring at the same time, right? So you need to expand beyond your regular team. How do you showcase visibility, right? So I learned that I have to always share my wins in a way that is celebrate my success and the team's success, right? Don't show that it's just you, but you find a way to like show it's a team effort, but it's also showing what you've done in collaboration with the team to make this great stride. So once they start seeing things like that, so it also helps to know you, to create that kind of visibility. And you can do something as simple as maybe sending a short note after a project and just thanking everyone for their collaboration and summarizing what went well, in the course of that engagement. You could have also kept quiet, which most people would do after you've done a project. I have a recent example that I did. I just finished a program recently, and I thought the program is over. We've signed off. We got all the senior leaders' approvals and things like that. But I didn't just stop there. So after like a couple of days, after the OP has ended, I sent an email copying everyone involved in that project, both the SMEs, their leaders, like everyone that has put in signature in that project.
Wow.
And now all the people that signed that project, their leader, which is the SVP, it was now copied in that email. And I thank everyone for all their engagement, their effort. So this is how you create visibility. You're not just showcasing yourself, how you've run that program, you're also appreciating other people's effort. So, which makes it a balanced view. And so, this is how one, can start creating sponsorship journey through your work effort and showing those visibility along the way. So, do not chase sponsors. That will be my advice to women. Attract them through excellence, those taking ownership, going above and beyond, and then by authenticity,
Hmm.
right? When people see that you stand for what, for what you deliver, right? They see what you stand for, rather, and what you deliver. in a very quality and excellent manner, they will likely want to stand behind you behind the closed doors and be your sponsor. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I love what you said. I love that. I love that. I love you said attract sponsors. So
Yeah.
through excellence, and I think it's a journey, right? You network, you're authentic, you're building those alliances, then you have those results that build credibility, right? You do that, and I think one of the things you mentioned as well, I love that character. A
Yeah.
lot of us are very good. Most immigrants, let me be honest with you, I hope I'm correct, but most immigrants are good at what they do, right?
Yeah.
Because they chase certifications, they chase courses and all of that, right? But I love the fact that you have to also blend that with character. Character
Yeah.
is 100%, right? How do you show up? Are you rude? If you come to meetings early, or you know all those kind of things that show that you have the right character. I love that. And I think the last two things that you said that I really love is you said taking ownership. You know, when we're in meetings and nobody just wants to, there's no owner. Being that person to raise his or her hand up to say, yes, I will take this, give it to me, and all of that. I love that. And the last thing you talked on visibility, I think this is where many people struggle as well, right? So for me, the way I do it, and I'm not saying I'm the best of it, I know I'm still on the same journey. I learned this late in my career that versus just coming to a meeting and talking about it, if it's very visual, maybe in an email or a slide or something that people can live with that memory. Because everybody's talking in the meeting, but if you have something else to show on top, I think it also adds visibility to your work, right? So excellent, excellent.
Absolutely, Kanye. In
Um,
fact, that point you mentioned about showing a visual, very, very important. And I do this a lot too. Apart from just sending email and copying everyone, actually in that email, I had a PowerPoint that I attached to summarize the project. There was an executive summary. There was, something to show the, completion to date, what we've done, what we've achieved, and things like that. So that visual was there. So, yeah, we can go on and on and on. There's, a lot of nuggets, but I think we can start piecemeal and start using those few strategies to get the right people.
I
All of
love
this.
that. I love that. And I think in everything I'm hearing from you is dot your I's, cross your T's. Yes,
Mhm.
you're speaking, you're good at what you do, but you have to drive visibility to that. And visibility is that dotting your I and crossing that T. Because everybody would do all of that, but you are now going that extra mile to do something different. Excellent, excellent. So
Yeah.
because of time, I'm going to take one more question. I know this is so critical, but I'm happy because the first two answers you've given our audience, I think if they run with that, 2026 is by the corner. As they build their action plans for next year, it will be good to integrate all of this. How can I build meaningful connections? How can I improve my credibility? How can I attract sponsors? Because Wumi is telling us today that sponsors are not a nice to have. They are a must have, right? So good point there, Wumi. My last question would be, I find that books are very good, or podcast. For example, I'm reading a book now, TALK, by Dr. Alison Woods. Before that, I just find I'm getting into the habit of reading maybe two books in a month. Question here to you is, are there any book recommendations or podcast recommendations or feedback or anything that you think that caused that shift for you that you want to share with our audience today?
Thank you, Connie. When it comes to my, professional growth, in terms of what has really helped me, whether it's book or feedback or some sort of habit, for me, I'm not a conventional book reader,
Okay.
motivational book reader, or then I am not, right? But I do a lot of continuous learning. I'm more on the technical side. So continuous learning has really helped shape my growth. While those books are really good, it wasn't just something I enjoy doing. I can take the back book and read the summary. I can look for a summarized version, but I don't invest so much time in reading books. But I've had some exceptions of some books that I've read.
Okay.
But before I go there, I just want to mention like those technical learning, I've always been very intentional about it. I did my master's degree program to improve or progress in my career. It wasn't just to have a master's, it was more from continuous learning point of view. And as you might know, like I'm very heavily involved in certifications. I've been doing this long time ago. It's not something I just came
I
up
know you
with.
for that.
Yeah, yeah. So I take a lot of certifications, courses, training. As far back as 2010, I had my Cisco Certified Network Associate, Cisco Certified Network Professional. I was actually going up to CCIE level, the Internet Network Expert, but I changed career path and now focus more on cybersecurity. And I'm CISSP certified, CCSP certified. And I always look for opportunity, even though there is no certification attached. If there is a training going on, I will be there. Recently, I was at Qualys training and conference. It was more from learning perspective, right? Qualys is a vendor mainly around vulnerability management and things like that. So I'm always looking for opportunity to learn to read, but mainly from the technical space. But my biggest leap actually came from also investing in self awareness, right?
Mhm.
Um, Always being aware about myself, my environment, asking question for feedback, self-reflection, or reflecting or asking for feedback from people about maybe every big presentation that I do or meeting, what went well, what do you think I could do better. I'm not always asking people to sugarcoat things for me. I
I love
just
that.
want that authentic feedback,
Good, good.
and I do it selectively, Coin. I don't just pick anybody. I pick senior people, and I may not have that very close relationship with them, but I trust them to give me the right feedback, and I'm asking for the
I
feedback.
love
So I
that.
do this, yeah. So I always ask them what resonated, what could I do better. So this practice of seeking feedback and not waiting for it, as being the biggest part of my growth acceleration as well. I would say, as much as I don't do a lot of book reading, there's one book out of so many others that I've read, right? So many others that I've read, The Atomic Habits
Ah,
by
yes, I've seen that. Yes.
James Clear. I
James Clear.
love that. And
Love
that's
that.
really good for me because I'm a perfectionist, like before. I like to get to when things are well done to, it's perfect before I can present stuff. But that's not the way to grow. You have to take bit by bit, step by step. So that has helped me to build consistent growth routines that really help me in my career instead of chasing perfection. So that's one book that is very close to me. It's everywhere. It's in my living room. I always go through it every time. So, but that's one book I would definitely recommend for people who wants to really grow and show up with the right attitude and of growth.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Wumi. I think you also encourage me because I myself I love continuous learning. Like one of my direct reports told me last week, he said, "Konya, you need to take a break." And it's not like I think I'm like you as well. Just I enjoy it
yeah,
because the world is moving. If you're not
mhm,
moving, sorry, right? So there's
yeah,
always something, and I find it that it also keeps me curious. It also keeps me intelligent. I'm actually intelligent because I'm yearning for more. So that's fantastic. Thanks. So for anyone on this call thinking that, oh, I'm going to wing it, I'm going to get a sponsor, mentor, coach, I'm going to network, I'm going to do all of that. You cannot give off an empty cup. You need to keep on
absolutely.
building. You need to keep on reaching, getting those certifications. And the good thing about it now is there's no excuse. Many of them are free.
Mhm.
Many of them, you can take courses. I always tell people you can take courses from Harvard. Coursera is there, EDX is there without paying anything.
Yeah,
There is no, even YouTube. If you say, okay, I don't want to even take courses, YouTube is there. I
yeah,
discovered one lady that is so good on YouTube. She has a podcast. Her name is Andrea. I can't pronounce her surname. I listen to her once a week when I'm driving. I'm
mhm,
just like you as well. I cannot sit
yeah,
down to read books, right? People
yeah,
give me books. They are all in my shelf, but I do
mhm,
audiobooks a lot. So when I'm
yeah,
driving, yes, because I drive to work every day. So when I'm driving, I'm just playing my audiobook. So I'm gaining or multiplying time by doing that. So lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Wumi. I
I
knew
agree.
that this would be impactful for everyone. I knew. And I want to thank you so much for taking out the time. And again, I want to apologize. If you guys don't know the background before we even had this call today, you don't want to know many, many things were behind this conversation unfolding. So I'm so, so happy. Thank you for your time. I know you're so busy. And thank you for always being available to give back. That is something,
Absolutely,
yes, you are not growing alone. You are also lifting others on that journey. And so I want to say thank you so much, Wumi. For sure, we'll be bringing you back. And
absolutely.
if you don't know Wumi, Wumi is calm. If you know what she's saying, you see the way I'm doing. I don't know the right word to, but she's a very energetic person. She's very lovable. She's I don't know. I don't even know the right words to use. She's an amazing friend. So thank you so much, Wumi. Love you so much. Thank you so much. And lovely regards to your boys.
Thank you, Konyisola. I really appreciate you bringing me here once again. And I appreciate all the feedback, all the comment about me. Yeah, this is really great. You nailed it in the back when you say Wumi is energetic. My name is synonymous to that. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So have a lovely day in Texas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.